Exposing the dark side of being a young teacher. Ever been stalked? It's a terrifying experience that can leave you feeling vulnerable and constantly on edge. Let me take you through my journey, a story that still sends shivers down my spine. Let me tell you about my crazy encounter. It all started innocently enough, but quickly spiraled into a nightmare that I could never have anticipated. 4 years ago, fresh out of college and new to teaching, I was asked to substitute at my old high school. I was excited and nostalgic, thinking it would be a great opportunity to give back to the place that shaped me. Little did I know, it would become a chapter of my life that I would never forget. I thought it was a great opportunity, but I was so wrong. The stress of being a new teacher was already overwhelming, but what happened next took it to a whole new level. On my first day, students asked for my social media. They seemed genuinely interested in connecting with me outside of the classroom, and I naively thought it would help build rapport. Thinking it was for educational purposes, I shared it. Big mistake. I didn't realize the boundaries I was crossing, and how it would open the door to a series of events that would haunt me. Inappropriate messages started flooding in, and I had to block them all. Then, there was Angel, a pretty student who seemed desperate for help. She stood out from the rest, not just because of her looks, but because of the intensity in her eyes. A pretty student who seemed desperate for help. She approached me with a sense of urgency, and I felt compelled to assist her. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of her obsession. One day she asked me to find a book in the library. It seemed like a harmless request, and I agreed without hesitation. The library was a place of solace for me, a sanctuary where I could escape the chaos of the classroom. She dragged me to a secluded spot, and then, without any warning, she kissed me out of nowhere. I was completely taken aback, my mind racing with confusion and disbelief. Kissed me out of nowhere. It was a moment that felt surreal, like something out of a bad dream. I couldn't believe what was happening. I was stunned and pushed her away. My heart was pounding, and I felt a mix of anger and fear. How could this happen? What was she thinking? Days later, she blackmailed me with a photo of that kiss, demanding I be her boyfriend. The photo was clear and incriminating, and I felt trapped. I couldn't believe the lengths she was willing to go to. I refused and blocked her, hoping that would be the end of it. But the fear and anxiety lingered. I couldn't shake the feeling that she was still watching me, waiting for her next move, then resigned from teaching to escape the madness. Fast forward 4 years, I thought I had left it all behind, but the past has a way of catching up with you. I'm freelancing in a new city when my doorbell rings. It's Angel. My heart sank as I saw her standing there, a ghost from my past. How did she find me? What did she want now? She found me, claiming she waited all this time, rejecting every guy because of me. Her eyes were filled with a mix of determination and desperation, and I didn't know how to respond. She even showed me a promise ring. It was a symbol of her unwavering commitment, and it scared me. How could someone hold on to a promise for so long? I was confused and scared, but she stayed with me, insisting we were meant to be. Her persistence was unnerving, and I felt a mix of fear and pity for her. We went to a psychologist who found her mentally stable. It was a relief, but it also raised more questions. How could someone so seemingly normal be so obsessed? Her tragic backstory unfolded. Abusive relatives, loneliness, and clinging to my promise. It was heartbreaking, and I began to understand the depth of her pain. Feeling guilty, I gave in. I couldn't turn my back on her, not after everything she had been through. It was a difficult decision, but one that felt right at the time. Over time, I fell for her. Our relationship grew stronger, and I began to see a different side of her. She was kind, loving, and dedicated. It was a love that blossomed from the most unlikely of circumstances. Now,